how did you arrive at those questions, just so people can kind of get an insight on how you put it together?
That's a great question. So first of all, I only wanted to talk about R.L. Dabney. That was going to be all I talked about. Of course, I could have talked about John MacArthur. I could have talked about Julie Roys. I could have talked about countless other things that hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to Phil about. And I don't think it's good to just say, well, because you like that, everybody associated with you in regards to that is no longer in the faith. They're no longer Christian because there's a tie to, and even that just doesn't even make sense. That's such a terrible way to think and to approach brothers and sisters who, for no other reason, there's no reason for me to think elsewise about your faith, but because of this area of sin, which, by the way, we all have areas of sin. So with that being the case, I wanted to allow Phil an opportunity to tell where he was, not for me to drill him and drag him up and down the street or whatever like that, or to play gotcha, but I wanted him to just tell where he was and allow the people that watched the interview to say, okay, I understand that, or I don't agree with that, but at least I know where he got that from. I started off with one thought. What do I want you to think when you close out this video? So I started literally at the end, and I kind of envisioned, what do I want you to type in the comment section? What do I want Jarena or Jim or Rick or whomever to type in the comment section about this interview? And then from there, we just walked our way back. And I said, these are the kind of questions I think would get that result of I understand. I don't want you to say, oh, I think R.L. Dabney is a saint and we need to worship him. I want you to say, okay, I understand how Phil came to that. Whether or not you disagree or you agree with him that wasn't my main goal. My main goal was for you to understand how he came to that, and then stop the poop stink thinking that, oh, well, because this person was a bad person and anybody around him was bad, then that means you're bad. Like, come on, man, it's just dumb. That's just kindergarten thinking. Go ahead.
And I think in that discussion, it really did really bring some things to light for myself as well as for the discussion, because I started digging through some scripture and looking at all the places where sinful men or men who had been in sin were useful, right?
Yes.
And so I think there was some kind of misconception that there was being some affirmation of sin, and I just don't think if you had 2 or 3 minutes to actually watch an entire interview and actually watch the entire series, that you would actually gather that from your interview. There's one section there where I believe Phil really clarified that if you don't feel comfortable reading this work, then don't read it. And he also clarified that if an individual commits that type of sin, it is a sin, and therefore, if that's enough for you not to read that work or engage in any content from that person, it's fair, it's understandable. And so when I saw some of the pushback and some of the comments and stuff like that, I was just shocked at how the cognitive dissonance was happening, to where individuals could not just listen to. There's sometimes I think if we had some blind sound bites, I think we'd agree with them if we didn't know who said them, right?
Yeah.
But if you heard them, right, and you saw who said it, then you automatically just get turned off, and you just absolutely at that point you don't want to actually have a good discussion about it. So I was just I expected it, but just kind of crazy.
I also want to just add, I'm just be honest, like for real, because I've had some comments on my page. I'm just encouraging you, I'm just asking rather to those people that comment, did you actually watch the videos? Not heard it from somebody else 3 hours, but actually watch the videos. My videos are shorter than the rebuttal, by the way. So you actually can get more done.
Yeah,
you can actually get more done. You can watch the entire playlist and still have time to, cook a souffle. So just watch my videos. And because in the beginning, like there's 2 key points where Phil literally says, I can understand why people don't like Dabney. He literally said that. And he
Right.
did not fault anybody for not liking Dabney. He said that.
But
Now, if you
but
didn't hear it, I'm wondering if it's because you didn't actually watch the videos. Because there's a person in my comment section right now who's been commenting, and I really, truly, in my soul, don't believe this person actually watched the videos. I believe she heard it from somebody who's commentating on it for almost twice as, I'm sorry, 4 times as long as my videos are, but she herself did not actually watch the videos. Just go watch them. It's
and,
okay.
and and to further that point, I don't know if anybody has actually read R.L. Dabney's work.
Yeah.
If you have not looked at, even there's a website, I think I shared in one of your comment sections, and I had to read some of the articles just to kind of see what kind of articles are being written. And I tried to read them objectively. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to, there was a defense of Calvinism. There was an article on women preachers. There was one about the atonement. There was one about the unity of Christ. There were about maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30 articles on the website that I was browsing through a lot of them, and I'm like, wow, a lot of this stuff is very, very lengthy. It takes a long time to dig through this. And
Mhm.
so if you only dug through the negative stuff, right? And I am kind of flabbergasted that individuals just don't like to do objective research anymore.
And
And
let
they,
me
they
let's point that out. Like that's actually very easy to do. If I just say, I'm gonna pick on Violet because she's the most recent here, and I could just say, oh well, Violet. Hey, Mike, let me just tell you about Violet. Don't worry about actually researching her or looking at her videos or heavens forbid actually calling her on the phone. Don't worry about that. I will tell you everything you need to know about Violet. It's real easy because people want to be lazy. And I'm sorry, if you watched that video and you took away that Phil was affirming sin or that I was excusing Dabney's sin, I don't know where you got it from. Again, there's no way that you got that from that video. So if go
it
ahead.
is if you it's a way that you got it if you have a disdain for dear old Christian and echoes. So you
Why?
won't take any objective um, you won't take any objective information. Now you might share information on your platform, right? And it's any content creator might share something that they deem is worthy for people to watch, right? But you would want the same type of you would want the same opportunity to be heard. There was no ulterior motive to get promoted to some secret African American department of Grace to You that you um, could attain to. It's like at this point, the objectivity is, and you know what? I'm starting to see, at least in my own study, where there were some people that talked about some of the commentaries that they read from Matthew
Mhm.
Henry and some of the information that they read from Jonathan Edwards and some of the other works that even Phil Johnson quoted some Presbyterian works to where, and it's weird. You could read everything else, right?
Yeah.
You can read any other book. You can go to any movie. You can share any song. You can share any ministry, whether it's right, wrong, or different, and get something accomplished. But when it comes to getting actually some objective work, some objective discussion, it's just not going to happen. Why? Because you don't like me. Maybe you don't like my dreadlocks. Maybe you don't like the shirts behind me. Maybe you don't like Darrell Christian's bald head and the fact that he drinks liquid smoke from another country. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But maybe you don't like K-Dub's Waterloo. Maybe you don't like, the fact that Rick Caldwell has the longest words in history. Maybe you don't like none of that, right?
Maybe you don't.
So maybe you don't like it. But you know what? It's okay. You know,
God bless you.
God bless you. And,
I'm a-
keep doing you, whoever you are. Keep doing who you are, and we will keep drinking London Fog and coffee as my echoes come. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just want to point out, like, again, I don't really have a dog in the race because you know what? R.L. Dabney is 200 years cold. And there's not one thing that we're going to do to put him in hell or take him out of hell, put him in heaven, wherever. There's nothing we can do. So this debate is really moot. And I think it's adorable, and that so many people can get their dander up about R.L. Dabney and his sin. Let's just say R.L. Dabney was a rank sinner of the highest order, but they can sit there and point him out, but they can't see the sin in the person that they're interacting with on YouTube,
or maybe the church, maybe the church they go to,
or the church they go to. You can't see that. You can't see the false teaching at your church. You can't see that. And then, and I just think it's adorable because Dabney's getting his reward, good, bad, or indifferent. He's being rewarded. But there are people right now who are not saved that are telling you about Dabney, and they themselves are not Christians. Right. I just want you to take the time and process that, because y'all really, y'all going hard in the paint about Dabney. Okay, great. You ain't got no hell to put him in. But there are people who are going to hell worrying about Dabney. Go ahead.
And there was one hot take. I wish we would have had it loaded, where Phil was just really, really clear about the subject. He basically said, Dabney was a sinner. If you don't want to read his work, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you will watch anything else or do anything else or be on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook, raising all kinds of Cain in your own flesh, right? And when you die, there's going to be stuff that people look at you that you did not repent for and completely turn your life over to. So you got to be careful. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think either one of us are trying to put any